Okay, so I've got my walls, well, the exterior walls anyway, made for this building. And so I'm just going to take your screens over. Give me 1 second. And so then, sorry if some of them are missed out. It doesn't get them all sometimes. And then I want to put my lower level floor in now. So it's really important that you have the ground line level set to 0. Oh, sorry. Okay, so do you know what your computer number is? Oh, it'll just take me a second anyway. I won't take very long. Yeah, so then with the level above there, called lower floor, I've got that set to 300. And then it's really important that you have the walls, the exterior walls, starting from the ground level at 0. And then we're going to make the floor on the lower floor level. So it'll be 300 above the bottom of our walls. So now I'll simply go to my lower floor plan and then click on the floor button. Again, clicking on the top half of the button saves us from making any choices about the options here. So I'll just click above the line there to start the floor tool. And then I'm going to change the floor type here over in properties, to generic 300mm. And then I'm going to make sure up in the draw panel it's still on pick walls. And then I'm going to go around and pick the inside face of each of those exterior walls. So it's really important that you get the inside edge. But if you make a mistake and you get the outside instead, you can always click on this double arrow to flip it. And that'll flip all of those lines together. So you can see there they're flipped to the outside, but I can then just easily flip them back to the inside. So now I'm going to continue with pick walls to pick all of the exterior walls, including this one here that goes through the middle. That's fine. And then I'm coming around to the corner here, just getting the rest of those walls. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to use trim to corner and join this line here to the vertical line, making sure I pick it below where they're going to join. So if I choose up here, it'll keep that part of the line. I don't want that. I want the lower part, so I'm going to pick there, and it keeps the lower part of the line and takes away the upper part. So that floor's done. Tick to finish. And when you see this question asking about joining geometry, always say yes. Okay, so it's no problem now if we decide that we don't want this wall here to extend through that space. I can use trim to corner, and again, just trim those two walls together. And then I'm going to just show you in the section view. Okay, don't worry that this wall looks a bit strange, we'll come back to that, but you can see here that the floor sits inside those walls, and it touches the ground because it's 300mm, so that's good. And the only issue really is that it's not black like the walls. So I'm just going to select that floor, go to Edit Type, and then you can see here we've got these two options for the coarse scale fill. The colour's already set to what I want, that's black. But then the fill pattern, the coarse scale fill pattern, is of course blank. So I'm going to click into that field there and then just click the browse button at the end and choose solid from the list, solid fill. Click OK, and OK, and that now becomes black. And that's always nice for anything that's existing. So now I'm just going to go back to the section and select my, so not the section, sorry, back to the floor plan, the lower level floor plan, and select that section, and just with the arrow keys nudge that down slightly so that I can show you, if we go back now to that section view, the wall on the left there looks better because the section now isn't cutting through this long wall, it's to one side of it. So we're looking at that wall, not coming through it. And this is the other one we're cutting through, so that looks a lot better. So then I'm essentially going to repeat that. I'm going to go back to the upper level floor plan, or upper floor. And then simply go to make a new floor, same way as before, using the floor tool. This time though, I'm going to change my floor type back to generic 150mm. And then again, just pick the inside of all of these walls. And this time I don't need to trim that corner because the walls that I'm picking have already been trimmed. And again, I'm going to finish that floor. And again, say yes when it asks me if I want to join geometry. And then check it back in the section, get a good view of it. And you can see again, it doesn't have that black fill pattern. Yep. Yes, you can make floors any shape. So you can, and I'll give you an example of that in a minute. Yep. Oh no, I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, no, I'll show you how to pick the floors as well. So I'll do that in a minute. So yes, I definitely want to show you how to make adjustments to the floors. So, okay, so the first thing though is that we don't have the same black fill on this floor as we do on the previous one. So I was going to make that clear. The reason that it doesn't have that black fill pattern is because this floor below is a different type. So this is generic 300mm, the one above is generic 150mm. Yes, usually. No, not always actually, but in this case, yeah, it would be. So, yeah, so the question was, yeah, are the floors, the upper floors usually thinner? In fact, normally they would be the same, roughly the same thickness. And in this case, you'll need to adjust your floor thickness quite a lot to get the ceiling heights that you want. So this 150 floor is probably a little bit thicker than you need to span across that space. It's quite a narrow space. So there is an option to make it a bit narrower, but you will still need a ceiling below that. So I'll even just, before I go back to the floor, I'll measure that distance using the measuring tool up here from this floor up to the one above. And you can see it's already down to 2350, which is below the minimum ceiling height, 2400, yeah. So with this project, you're allowed to go below the minimum, but try not to go too far below 2400, if you can help it. For bathrooms and kitchens, you can go down to 2100. But for living spaces, it is supposed to be 2400, but because the existing building is already below that, again, you can go a little bit below, but again, not too much. So that's why I'm putting in a 150 floor, just to help you work that out. And so here again, if I select that floor, go to edit type, and I can just do the same thing as I did with the previous one, go and change that now to solid fill. Right, so that's a good basic setup for the section, showing the existing floors. But then, as you work on your designs, you'll definitely want to make changes. So I'll show you a few different ways of doing that. Okay, so if I go back to the upper floor plan, I know there's a floor there, but we can't really see it very easily. So I'll show you a way that you can select it in the floor plan. Moving the cursor onto the edge there, on the inner face of the wall, we know that that's where I've created the floor. But as I move the cursor, you can see it's telling me that it's a wall. So it tells me what type of wall it is. So I'm going to press Tab, and it'll give me a different option. That's giving me a chain of walls. I don't want that, so I'm going to press Tab again. And now you can see it's giving me the floor. So that's one option. You can use Tab to cycle through the different objects in one spot. Then you click. So the trick to using tab is to not click until you've got the object that you want. So then you click and it'll select it accordingly, and you can see over here we've got the properties. Or I could go and edit the boundary, which I'll do. I'll just click edit boundary. So say we wanted to make a void or a hole in this floor. I can just draw a rectangle. And so I'll just draw one roughly in the middle here, just as an example. I wouldn't keep this, but just so you can see. I'll finish that. And now if I go to the section view, we can of course see that void there as well, because the section line goes through that area. Now maybe I don't want that. Yeah, that's it. Yep. When I was editing the floor, that's the key. Yep. So now, maybe I've decided I don't want that void anymore. So another way of selecting the floor is to go to a view where you can see it more easily. And you can usually see things like floors much more easily in a section view than you can in a plan view. So a really good technique, if you're having trouble finding your floors, is to make a section, or make sure there's a section where your floor is, and then you can easily select the floor there, and then you get that option again to click edit boundary to go back and change the sketch. So I'll click that, edit boundary, but then this time it's come up with a list of views that I need to use to edit that floor. So that's actually a good technique, because now I've got the option to switch back to the upper floor plan that I used originally to create the floor, just by clicking open view. I can go back and maybe delete that, that void. So I might decide that I want this area to have a higher floor than the part at the front. So I might make some other changes. So I'm going to use trim to corner and maybe join this line to the one at the top, and then I'll use the same line again and choose the one down below. So I'm going to have my floor finish there, and then I'll delete these extra lines, just like so, and then I'll finish that, and I'll just show you in the section before I add anything else. So you can see now the floor stops here, and so then if I wanted a floor with a different level, or maybe even just a different material, I can make a new floor. So I do want to have maybe a floor with a different height to get a bit more headspace down in this area as well. So I'm going to use the level tool and make a new level for my new floor height. Okay, so I'll call that maybe upper mezzanine or something. Oops, let's fix that. So again, always say yes to renaming corresponding views. So I've got my new level, which establishes my new height, upper mezz. So I'll open up that new upper mezz floor plan now. Sorry, that's a mistake. I've opened the upper mezz ceiling plan. So when your floor plans don't look quite right, it's often because you might have opened a ceiling plan instead. So there's my upper mezz floor plan up above. And now I can see the walls. So I'll now go and make another floor with the floor tool again, and this time again I'll just use pick walls, pick the inside face again of all of these walls, and then where I need to use trim to corner and join those corners together so it's a closed shape, which I'll then finish, and again say yes to cut out the overlapping volume, and check it in the section to see that my heights are right and the graphics are what I want. And so this time that new floor is automatically black because that generic 150mm floor has been set to have that solid pattern. So that's all there is to it, really. So that should hopefully give you enough to make most of the things you need with floors. When we go on to do stairs, I'll show you how you can do some other things for cutouts and things like that. But again, that should give you most of it. So I'll give you some time to work on that, and then we'll continue on doing the openings.